Authors Tell All, a podcast by Shy Soul. She's bringing you author interviews, book discussions, and more. Stay tuned. Authors Tell All, a podcast by Shy Soul. She's bringing you author interviews, book discussions, and more. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone, we are live now with author Uniquely Lashay on Facebook as Lashay Perkins. Hi, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine.
Okay, so let's get into this new book, that you just released. Tell everybody the title.
The title is Naked Hustling.
Okay. And my question is, that's my first question. What made you come up with that title for this book?
It's called Naked Hustling because in the book it talks a lot about the main character, Cherry. She ended up becoming a scripper. So scripting is her hustle.
Mm-hmm.
After, she goes through a lot of difficulties in her life, and she have life changes happen. She lose parents and car accidents and stuff like that. So she is having to take care of her and her twin sister. So this is her only means of making money due to the fact that she only went, in high school.
That is, now guys, you always know every time I interview an author, you already know I didn't read bits and pieces of the book or I already completed the book entirely. Now, when I read the description, I was like, for one, this is beautifully written. I have to read it. I have to get in contact with this author so she could be able to talk about this book. So, it's even more broadcasted. This book is already a 5-star. That's telling you something right there, people. This book is good. You should have been read it. You should have been had it. But let's continue. What made you, come up with this storyline, the story plot?
Well, I always, all my main characters are plus size women. So definitely that's my main goal with all my books. So every book I write, I always have a main character that is like a plus size girl. So in this book, she's want to go to school for doing like designing and stuff like that. She designs clothes very, very well. And with life happening and tragedy happening, her plans to go off to college, which she planned to go to Spelman in Atlanta. She is originally from Miami, Florida. And she got her acceptance letter, everything's going good at the beginning of the book. Her parents excited for her, they're motivating her. Then all of a sudden, the night of her graduation, her parents was running late. She was calling and rushing them to get to the graduation. They have a bad car accident. Neither parent made it. So, I wrote this book just to tell people like how people's plans can get altered in life.
Mm-hmm.
When you're young, you might see your life as this, but you never imagine that it's not going to turn out that way.
Exactly.
And that kind of happened to me in my life. So this book was a prime example of how sometimes we have to adapt to our environment.
That is very true. Now, I like the fact that, you added in your own personal experience into the book, which made it more realistic. I love when authors do that because, I'm a reader before anything too. So I noticed those things as well. I also like the fact that, you're adding in the factor that the reader can, identify and they can really be like, wow, I've been through this same thing. And for her to put that in the book, that really helped me, or it was emotional for me. You get what I'm saying? I love when authors do that. Mm-hmm. So, speaking on that, because I can tell you add little stuff like that into your books anyway. Have you gotten any fan messages, reader messages about that, saying that you've helped them with your books or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I have a couple fans. They hit me up daily. They email me. They send me messages through Facebook. And I had one girl, she messaged me on this particular book, and she said, I'm glad that you wrote that book because I went through something like that in life. I had to learn fast. I had to think fast, to keep afloat or whatever, because in this book you'll notice that Sherry's main problem is trying to stay afloat. Trying to make sure she's able to take care of her sisters, without them having to go hungry, without them having to go, without lights, without, the main things that you need in life. So she turned to scripting. She turned to a hustle. You know, she don't have any degree. She don't have any work experience. One of her friends that already is in the script game, she put her on. She introduced her to the people at the script club. You know, she introduced her to the owner. He, you know, brought her in right away because she know this girl. So she started, you know, scripting, but she also started selling her design to the scripper. She started making scripper clothes. You know, she not only scripting, she making a hustle by making scripper clothes. You know, she started making her own outfits, and she became a big sensation in this script world. So everybody knew her by, you know, the girl that was big and bougie. So she became a big scripper. She was like the main attraction of the club. Everybody loved her outfit. They loved her shape. And at the same time, she started putting other girls on by making their outfits, you know. So everybody knew that she could design clothes. So she was hustling two ways.
So I love that. I love that, you know, you added something different in this story because, you know, there's a lot of urban stripper stories out there. I like the fact that you really made your story different because I've never heard of that, of what you stated in your book. I've never read of that. I've never heard of anything like that in a stripper story that I've read before. And, you know, and another thing, I like the way your cover is too. It's not, you know, giving your story away. Because before I even read the description, when I seen the cover, I was like, naked hustling. I was like, I wonder what this story is about. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'm thinking, like, is this going to be a romance story? Yeah. I like how you got that cover designed in that fashion. Instead of, you know, just having, like, a pole and a girl on there or something like that. I just like the way you did that. That made it really stand out. It really did.
Yeah, I didn't want to give too much away because a lot of people, you know, they wanted to know what it was about. So it made them curious, and then that made them want to come by the book, want to read it, and see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So that was definitely, I didn't want it to look like a normal scripture story, you know, an everyday urban script story that we read about.
Exactly. Now, who is your favorite character in the book, and who is your least favorite character, if you do have one?
Definitely, I have a favorite character. I would say definitely Elijah, the guy that she ended up meeting, that motivated her to, you know, pursue her dream as going to college, you know, get her business degree, and also get her designer degree at the same time. I would say he is the most inspiring person because he's not only is he, you know, going through his own stuff in life with his father being sickly, and, you know, he also motivating Carrie to pursue her dream and not give up and not settle for the script life. He see more in her than she don't even see herself.
Right. That type of character is actually what draws me to a book as well, you know, because I've already read the story, so I'm not gonna spill nothing for the readers, anything like that, but I just love the fact that you have a character in the book that is supporting and, you know, loving and, you know, trying to actually get the character to progress, instead of that character that, you know, is trying to still, oh, you should stay being a stripper, stay doing it. You get what I'm saying? I like the fact that you added that in the book as well to, you know, progress your character, not make your character, you know, stay at that same level, and then, you know, it turns your book into that plot twist where, you know, some bad might happen or something like that. Overall, I just love the way you did the book in general. You did a beautiful job on it.
I worked on this book for a while, to be honest. Like, I put a lot of thought and effort into this book. It was one of the books I could say I worked on for a while. It wasn't no book that I did really fast or in a month time. I worked on this book for a couple months. I would say about 6 months.
Yeah, and you can totally tell. I know I can because I'm an author too, and I could just tell that you put your heart into this story. You know, I could just tell by that. I was like, yeah, she definitely has to come on and talk about this book because it's just that good. For it to just be a solid 5-star in it's only February 8th, and the book came out January 24th. So that quick, that means it's a great book. And for you to be on the top 100 list too, that makes it even better. Totally makes it even better.
Yeah, because I'm still surprised. It's still, this book is still on one of the top 100. So I was surprised by that, definitely.
Yes, I love when authors, they know their work can be the best it can be. They know they can give their readers a story that they can grasp onto or want to go back and reread. And that's exactly what the story was, especially if it hit that list so quick, so fast. So that's definitely a story that I believe, like, if I'm an author too, like I said. So say if I wanted to, write a stripper story or something of that nature, this is a book that, I will go to reference and be like, yeah, she did a great job on this book. I would like to, read it and be like, okay, now I have like a way of, to generally go about how to write a stripper story. And another thing, that's what I want to ask. Did you do any research? Did you watch any movies? Read any books to, really help you with this story?
This story takes place in Miami, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in Florida for over 10 years, so it was kind of like a place that was kind of familiar to me. So it was much easier to write in than normal books. You have to research a lot. So, like the club names and stuff like that is totally fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I just made up some club names, so none of those clubs are real. But Selman is definitely a real school in Atlanta. I live in Georgia now. I originally live in Georgia, from Georgia. So I just threw in stuff that I knew, like schooling wise, from city wise. Atlanta is a big city. It's already well known.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically just used what I knew to write this story.
Yeah, I
didn't have to do much research. So.
That just makes a story even better, that you use the environment that you used to be in and live at to really progress this story. Girl, you the bomb. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. I sure appreciate it.
It's no problem. Now, you have another book that I know you want to discuss too, so we could definitely get into that if you want to go in that direction of talking about that other release that you had.
Yeah, now that was different for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was much different.
Definitely it was. Now, can you tell us the name of that book? Because, sis, I love the title of that book too.
Yeah, that book that just came out, actually it dropped on February the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally supposed to drop on January the 31st, but we had to pushing it back a little bit because I didn't want to rush it, too much.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up pushing it back a little bit. But it's called Blessed with Beautiful Curves. And of course, it's about a curvy woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I write. I'm a curvy woman myself, so I just try to give the big girls some type of, something to relate to. Because me being a reader like you, I always read a lot of urban books.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really, noticed that they would never put like big girls as like the main characters. They might have them on the side or, sub characters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely.
After being a reader, I was like, okay, so now, after I, been a reader for so many years, I started reading when I was like 13 or 14 years old. And I'm 30 now, so let's see how long I was reading. So then I just decided to make a book about another curvy women. So Blessed with Beautiful Curves is very, very touching because it talks about Christianity. It talks a lot about Christianity in the church, being black in the church is something that a lot of people don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And child molestation, and it touched on a lot of like suicide awareness, stuff like that. So I love that book. It's so like that book right there is definitely one of my main stories, my first stories I ever wrote. It was a short story, and I actually let my new publisher, J.J. the writer, I let him read the short story, and he was like, "Oh, you definitely need to turn this into a book."
Mm-hmm.
So the main character in that book, she goes through molestation at the church.
Mm.
Her mom is a Christian lady. She's a single mom. She divorced her husband. He's in and out her kids' life. He's not a good husband. So her daughter, she taking her out with her other sisters and brothers that's younger than her and stuff like that. So Christy, she ended up kind of growing up fast, like just taking her mom out with her other brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So she's stepping up in a spot where her dad should be. Like when her mom go to work, she watching her sisters and brothers. But in the process, her mom is like devoted to the church. So, they going to Sunday school. Her mom making sure they at Sunday school every Sunday. She after Sunday school they go straight to the church to be at the church all day. The pastor of the church, he's a molester.
And that's sad. That's so
It's very sad. Because her mom would drop them off at the church, trusting the church. She trusting the church, with her kids.
Mm-hmm.
Until she can go home and change clothes and get ready. Because they had been pursuing, the people in the church about making sure the kids come to Bible study. They want to make sure they get that Bible study. And Bible study was early. So her mom would get off work after a long night of work, and she'd be tired. She'd be like, I'm going to go ahead and drop y'all off at the Sunday school. So while y'all doing Sunday school, she's, home napping and getting ready for church. And he's telling the preacher, he's telling her, okay, I got him. You ain't got nothing to worry about it. The whole time he molesting her 13-year-old daughter and end up getting her pregnant.
And that's sad, and a lot of young ladies and older women can relate to that. They definitely can relate to that.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people say they can relate to that.
Mm-hmm. And that's just messed up that, that in a story that you can write all of this. Anybody can write all of this. And it's true. It happens all the time. And still, it can't be fixed. Because you can trust this person like the mother did in the book. She trusted him, and for him to do that, that's just like, who can you trust? Basically, it's like, can you really trust anyone with your children? And that's just so messed up.
Definitely is deep.
Very, it really is. Now, I haven't finished that story yet because I am the type of reader that, I really like to absorb what I'm reading. I can read fast, like, no doubt. But when it comes to certain books like that, that's a book that, you want to, like, make it last because it's that good of a read. You just don't want to speed through it and you don't miss anything or anything like that. That's how I take from it. So, reading a book, and plus I'm an emotional reader too. So if I get to one of those scenes, I'm gonna be like, close the book, go get my Kleenex, because like I know I'm gonna cry, because as much as I write that stuff as well, and as much as I read it, and as much as I watch it on Law and Order SVU, it still goes on, it's still happening. It's never gonna change, ever.
It's very touching.
Mm-hmm.
And that book, I'm just gonna say this because even though Christy, she does go through stuff in life. She going through, real life stuff. She her mom making her keep the baby for one, because her mom don't believe in abortion. She a Christian, so she tell her from the get go, you gonna keep the baby. Her mom don't know at the time how she got pregnant.
Right.
My mom just thinks she's been a fast little girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
So
that's not right.
You're gonna keep that baby. You know what I'm saying? So.
Mm-hmm. And that's not right. And then for the readers, we're not going to give any more details away or anything like that because, you got to get the book.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to be dropping the links like I always do. And, when before the podcast ends, you get to, shout out all your social media and anywhere, you have your book selling, we'll let the readers know that and everything of that nature. But that just goes to show that you have a lot of supporters who will really support your book. Now, listen, she had a book come out in January and then another book come out, and both of them are bestsellers. Blessed with Beautiful Curves is still best-selling in that category as of right now.
Yeah, Christian fiction.
Yes, if you have not attempted to read this book, you really need to, because one, it's beautiful, it's emotional, and it's real. What more can you ask for, and it has drama too. Don't get me wrong, it has drama too. So
yeah, it has a lot of drama.
Yeah, so what more can you ask from, a new author to read or your favorite author? What more can you ask from the author to give when this book has all four?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And this book also has a plot twist. You must read it to find out what is the twist. It's definitely crazy.
Definitely. Now, my question is, for you to write all these great stories, what made you want to be an author in the first place?
Tell the truth. Like, when I first started writing, I was going through, like, a hard time in my life. Like, a difficult time in my life. Like suicide was on my mind type time in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, I turned to writing because it was therapeutic.
Yes.
It was stuff that, really, really went on, and stuff that I know, stuff that I have witnessed. Like Blessed with Beautiful Curves, when I speak about the molestation. It didn't happen to me personally, but one of my cousins, she went through molestation at an early age, around about this same age, 13, 14 years old, with her mom, husband, and he ended up getting her pregnant, and she turned to me. I don't know why, but I had a lot of people in my life always turning to me to tell me stuff as a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So I was stuck with this secret that I couldn't tell nobody.
Right.
So I basically just write about stuff I know.
Right. It's crazy because I have, the story that, I wrote back when I was 17, same as what you're writing about, but I put a little twist on it because mine couldn't really go that far because that's emotional. I didn't know anybody that went through that, just off of reading and seeing it on TV and stuff. I said, I'm gonna write a story like that because I know I have readers out there that have gone through this. So after I wrote the scene, I started crying my eyes out because I couldn't believe that, I wrote it, for one. For two, that, it really goes on. And when I let my mom read the story, she broke down as well because she didn't know that I can, get that emotional and that deep in my writing. So that was a milestone right there in itself.
Yes, definitely. Another character in this Blessed book that really touched me, I just want to speak on, is the brother John.
Mm-hmm.
When you read Blessed, John is one of my favorite characters in this book out of everybody. And even my fiance, he could tell you. When I wrote the one scene about John, I broke down crying. I was crying after I wrote that scene. And my fiance walked in, and I'm on the computer. He walked into my office area, and he's like, is you sitting up there crying?
Right.
And I'm like, no, I'm not crying.
Right.
And he like, yes, you are. I was crying. Listen to me. This book touched me real deep.
Right.
Just know, if you read this book, please pay attention to Dun Dun. Because it definitely is like, he's one of my main favorite characters.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Because, just like what you said, you was like, no, I'm not crying. My mom, I can't really remember, but all I know is I was writing that scene. I believe I was sitting in her bed and, just writing. And then that's when I just felt my eyes just getting all watery and stuff. I was like, I gotta put this computer down and I gotta stop writing for today, because I did not know that all that emotion of me writing that character, that female character, was gonna hit me so fast. Because trust me, I put that character through a lot, and when you write stuff like that, you have to make sure you're not in a dark place or anything like that, because, as writers, we're writing from our mind. You get, a lot of people should understand this, that we write from our mind. So we can't go to our dark place when we're writing stuff like that, because, you don't want to slip into anything that might get you depressed, even from writing it, even though it's for people to, overcome or what they've gone through. So when people say, oh, writing's not hard, yes, it is. Some things we have to write about is not easy.
Definitely not easy. I tell everybody, it's definitely difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! And I'm like you, like the characters, they be talking to me.
Yes.
Like I could be at work and I would have characters talking to me, just come to me, and I'm just like, whoa! Like it's just I start writing and it's gonna start flowing real good for me right now. Cause like I went through a time where I had writer's block for a while. I did my first 2 or 3 books. I had writer's block. I couldn't write.
Exactly.
So I was just stuck. So when it came back, when it finally did come back, after me reading a couple people work and me just reading a lot, we came back strong. I had so many different characters coming at me, talking to me, and I'm just like, whoa! It just like it was overwhelming, very overwhelming.
Right. Exactly. Now, I don't know for you, but for me, I have a very I say this all the time on my podcast. I have a very overactive imagination. Meaning that, just like what you said, my characters do talk to me, but the moment they get to, voicing their opinion, all the scenes and everything for a book just start going through my head. And I'm like, okay, I can't keep doing that, because that's going to distract me in class, because I'm going to want to pull out my notepad and be like, forget this math work, I got to write this down. Believe me, and this is a funny story, that happened to me one time in math class. Like, it's hilarious, because I said, I'm not finna do this work, I'm finna write down what I gotta write. Oh well. My teacher said, excuse me, aren't you supposed to be? I said, I know. Everybody in this room know that I am a writer. I can't help it. Everybody started laughing. So she said, okay, since you want to, disregard math work, why don't you come up and read it, right? I said, no problem. I got up and read it. And she was like, I'm going to have to talk to you after class. It was nothing bad or anything like that. She was just so surprised that I wrote it. That I wrote something that amazing. She was like, have you been in, any writing contests or anything like that? Next thing I know, something that I wrote for my writing class is in a contest, and I end up winning 2nd place. I said, see, this is why I don't tell nobody nothing. This is why I don't jump the gun. I said, this is exactly why I don't jump the gun with this, because this is back in high school. So back in high school, writing was just, a hobby of mine. It was a passion, of course, but it was just a hobby of mine. I'm still learning and everything. I didn't really want anybody to really know, that I was a writer. Until everybody figured it out and everything, that's when I was senior year. Everybody was like, well, Shy writes books. Maybe you should no, I'm not writing nobody's paper. No. It's not happening. So it got to that point. It got to that point to where everybody was like, well, when are you going to, are you going to ever get published? I'm like, I don't want to get published. Now I'm 22 and I'm published. Got published at 20. See, things happen. And, things just happen. Now, Did you have anyone like that to be like, oh, your stories need to be published? And before, well, did you decide to get published at a certain point, or did it just happen?
No, I decided to get published at a certain point. I went, like I said, when I first started writing, I was a poetry writer. Like, I remember in high school, like, I would write poetry out the ass. Like, poetry, it was my thing. That's what I did at the beginning. But I loved to read also. So I would write my poetry and I would read books. But like I said, I actually had to go through something in life. Like, God had to take me through something for me to bring out my gift of writing. Because, like, I always was able to write, like, papers. I was a person, like, I was in, like, all honor classes. I could write a 12-page paper, like, nothing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I was always a writer, but I just didn't know I was a writer.
Right.
I had to go through, God had to take me through something for me to actually bring my gift out. So once I went through that hard time in my life, and I started to pray more and stuff like that, I started to read more, then I started to write. And I felt like it was therapeutic. Like, once I write a chapter or I write 2 chapters, I would state my environment or what I was going through at the moment, and I was somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in these characters, like, they going through stuff, and I'm just like, okay, well, see, I'm not the only one going through stuff.
Right.
So it just made me feel better. It really did. It made me feel a whole lot better.
Yeah, because, like you said, it was very therapeutic for you. Really was for me, too, because I was that shy, just like my name. I was that very shy person, you know. I always kept to myself, you know. I was always the one who wanted to just draw and write and just be to myself. You know, that was just the person I was. I just wanted to be to myself and just be in my own world. And then that was it. People person, yes, I was. Very enthusiastic person. Very, you know, out there. I just wanted to just be to myself, you know, be in my own circle. You know, that's how I always was. So, writing really brought me out of that now that I'm getting much older. And then my podcast really, really brought me out of it because I'm talking to great authors like you and voicing my opinion like I should have been doing. You know, I am that type of person where I like to debate. I like to write. I like to do a lot of things to, you know, get my voice out there. And this was that point. When I started this podcast, it was on a whim. I didn't think it was going to even blow up this far or anything like that. It was a whim. I messaged an author and said, you know, you're a great author. I'd love to interview you. Because I want to be when I graduate from college, I want to be a journalist too. So I said, I want to interview you. She said, interview? I said, yeah, I'm going to start my podcast. Haven't told anybody. I'm just post an interview, go live, and see where it goes from there. The moment I did it, it just went crazy from then on. I said, okay, well, I guess I was supposed to have been done this a long time ago. I just wasn't at that point yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. You have to go through stuff to get to that point. And that's exactly, you know, how it happened for me. But like I said, I was always a writer. Like,
Yep,
you know,
me too.
my friends would come to me and they'll be like, hey, you know, I got a paper due. You think you can, you know, help me with it? Or pretty much they would always come to me with their paper. Anything about writing, and they would come to me about it.
Exactly.
So I always knew, like, it comes easy for me. Like, okay, yeah, I can write. You know what I'm saying? I can type up something real quick. I was a fast typer, you know, so.
Yeah, me too.
It came easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I never knew it was going to take me to write. So.
Exactly. My point, because I started, you know, just writing. I started writing when I was 10 years old, you know, writing poems. Like, what 10-year-old you know writes poems? That's all I heard all the time. Like, what 10-year-old write poems? She does. Like, my grandma was the first person to notice. She was the first person to notice, like, either she's going to be an artist or she's going to be writing. And I knew what she meant by, you know, being an artist because I love to draw. I was always drawing, always had my pen and pad. I was always advanced in that. Writing, same, but I just didn't see it yet. When I hit high school, that's when it just took off from there. Wrote a story in my composition notebook. Friend of mine happened to, get a hold of it, thinking, oh, she takes notes in this. She said, what, such and such. Turns out she grabbed the wrong notebook. Now she reading a full 30-page, no, it wasn't a short story. I take that back. 30 chapter, there we go. 30 chapter novel in my notebook. And she was like, I read your story. I said, my face just turned like red. Like I looked at like a tomato. I said, what story? What do you mean? She was like, your book that was in your notebook. I said, are you serious? She said, yeah, you should put it on such and such app. And I did it. And that story hit like 10,000 reads in a week that I published it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah, see, that's the same thing kind of happened to me. That's one of my friends read something I wrote, and she was like, have you ever went on Wattpad?
Mm-hmm.
And it was back in 2003. No, that was like 2013, I think it was. And she had read my stuff, and she was like, you should have published it on Wattpad. I'm like, all of this time, I'm scared, like, people going to steal my work. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I had already heard stuff like, people going to steal your work if you put it out on the internet. So at this time, I was writing in a notepad. So
yep.
I wasn't even typing. Like when I first started writing my stories, I wanted to write them down. Like I wouldn't type them up on the computer.
Right.
So when I first typed my first story up on the computer and I put it on Wattpad, I think I put like the first 5 chapters on there or something like that. And overnight, I think it hit big. A lot of people was inboxing me. They was like, oh my God, go ahead and write the next chapter. Put the next chapter out here. And I'm like,
yep.
I don't think I'm putting more chapters.
Yep.
Or whatever.
Now, see, I did the opposite of what you did. I said, since I'm going to do this, I'm going to just put the whole book out there, right? Because I had my Wattpad account for months, just reading or whatever. And I was like, okay, these are some pretty good stories. But then back in my mind, I was like, I can write my story way better. Not on nothing cocky or anything like that. But I was like, I know I could put out a story like that will really be like a hit.
Mm-hmm.
That was the shy that wants, just go for it. Like, just do it, right? So I just did it. I put the full story on there. Only had, I think, like maybe 20 followers. Maybe like 20 followers, just readers or whatever. Or like a few people that I knew. Not really too sure back then in 2014, 2013. So I did it. I just went ahead, put the full story out. Next thing I know, just what you said, I'm getting comments and likes. And now I woke up to 100 and something followers. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened? So in that course of a week, for me to be that new, and for the book to be that fresh and for it to hit that quick, I was like, wow, I should be doing this. So like the adrenaline started kicking in. And after that, I can't get rid of that. Now that's just in me. When I haven't wrote for like, I finished my last book last month and some weeks ago. After then, I said, I'm going to take my break. I said, I'm going to take my break, right? No, that break did not happen. I've been writing the next book since January 16th. I've been on that book.
That's what I be saying. I was like, I'm going to take a break. I never take a
No,
break.
it's your adrenaline for it.
I'll be rushing to the computer. I'm like, I got to get home. I got so many thoughts going. And then, like, sometimes I put it in my phone.
Yep.
Or whatever. Depending on, like, sometimes if I'm at work and I got a little downtime, I just write it in my phone. I won't forget it. Or I just jot down the outline of it. So I won't forget it.
Yep, and I always tell these stories because it's going to be writers like us, how we were. Like, I'm scared to put out my story. No, just put that story out because you don't know who's going to see it. You don't know who's going to pick it up. You just don't know yet until you just go ahead and just put it out there. And then you see how well it takes off. I don't care if it gets a 1-star, 2-star. At least you put your story out there because you love writing. Period.
Yeah, definitely. It's therapeutic for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of inspiring authors who signed into my company that I'm starting in July. It launched in July. But it's called Unique Creation Publications. It's my own company. I'm trying to start my own company. And it just helps like upcoming authors. Like all the authors that I'm trying to help are authors who never put out a book. They need mentoring. They need guidance to show them which way to go. Because I felt like when I first was writing, even though I had people telling me I need to put it out there, I had nobody that showed me which way to go to put it out there.
Me either.
So it took me some time. It took me some time to meet publisher that I trusted.
Yep. Exactly. Because
most of them was just like, send me the chapters. Have you wrote this many cases, that many cases? No, I'm new, so I'm writing, but I still don't know how much I'm writing. I don't know nothing about word count and stuff like that this time. I'm just writing. So when they were like, have you got 40K and all that? I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, well, I'm from Rhode. I can send it to you.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly how it was. Plus, I was very young too, and I was like, I'm not gonna even. I discussed it with my parents, but I said, that's gonna be my choice when I want to, go full on to signing a contract and all that. I waited until I turned 20 to be like, I'm just going to do it because I was young. I wanted to perfect my craft more because going back to my books, I was like, oh, it's the cringe. The cringe is hitting me. That's how I felt because I was like, I know I could have just wrote better than that. But I was at that point with that adrenaline and I was like, I just want to keep writing my stories. I have so many stories and characters in my head that I just need to write it. And the stories were hits. It's just that I didn't have no character development. I didn't have no right plot. Just the way I used to write, my style changed so much. And I appreciate that. But I don't want to read those old stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, the little cringe that I get. I was like, I would have to really, 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 really get induced in this story and just full on just clean it up. Because that story that I wrote has a good idea, just need to be better structured. That's it.
It can be better, yeah, definitely. Like I told you, I found myself going back to like some of my short stories that I wrote that was not published, and I turned them into books, But the simple fact is, I'm like you. Like when I first was writing, when I went back and read them, I'm like, what the hell was I writing?
Exactly. I was like, oh Lord, the 16-year-old, you could tell I was 16, didn't know nothing about nothing of what I was trying to write.
Changed so much.
Yes.
That's true. When you spoke on that touched home because when I went back and read my short stories, I'm like, what the hell was I talking about?
Right. And then the fact that you said you wrote short stories, right? I only wrote.
I had wrote like a couple short stories along with some of the novels I wrote. And the short stories I published them on. I wouldn't publish them, but I would do like a short story challenge on Facebook. And I would save them. Good thing I did save them because I turned Blessed into a book. And Blessed was very popular as a short story on Facebook.
Right.
Very, very popular.
Now, my mind and how I write, I wrote one short story. All the rest of my stories were just like 50 chapters and 40 chapters and 30. And one book I even wrote 70 chapters for it. I just, like my mind, like I didn't like writing series. I got out of the habit of that. I didn't like writing series. I really wasn't into writing a short story. I just like to write a book that you can just be like, wow, this is a one-hit book. That's all it needs. It doesn't need a part 2 or part 3. That was just like my thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I still kind of don't really like series that much. As of me, to write it, I still really don't like it, even though I can. I still am the type of person that just likes to write out of the box. When I write a series, I want my series to have different books to it. As much as I love those characters in the first book, I'm the drama queen. That is a tagline of mine. I've always been called the drama queen with my books.
I'm definitely like that. Like, I have people come to me all the time and say, "You gonna do a spinoff? You gonna do a spinoff?" I have a lot. I'm like, I have a lot of standalones because of that fact. I'm a freelance writer.
Yep.
Like, I like to write off the top of my head. Like, I don't really like to. Now I got to a place where I don't even like to outline my book. I like to let it flow. Like, whatever my character talk about in my head is coming out. You know.
Yep.
I'm letting it flow. I'm just typing as I go. And when people say, "Are you gonna go back and do a part 2 or a spin-off?" and I just be like, the character is not talking to me no more. They're not there. I gotta go on to the next. I got other people talking to me.
Exactly.
And it sounds crazy. Because you tell them like you got people talking to you, like characters talking to you. They looking at you like, "Is you bipolar or something?" Like, what the hell you got going on?
Right. And if you're not a writer, you're not going to understand what we're talking about. Sorry, but we not crazy. We're just very creative. Okay? I don't think most of the people I know, I don't think they could have a brain like mine because they would not be able to sleep. That's a fact. They would not be able to sleep. And I'm going to say this. I get, like, when I take my shower, my relaxing, as much as I try to, like, let my brain relax, it's not happening. I will get a story idea for my next chapter in the shower and be like, remember it, take a mental note, because as soon as I get out that shower, it's going right in my notebook or right on my computer, and that's a 10K chapter right there. And I'd be like, oh my God, let me split this 10K into 2 chapters.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like you. When it comes to me, it's a non-stop flowing thing. Like, I'm like you. I can't even sleep till I get up out of bed at 2, 3 in the morning, and my fiance like, "Where you going?" I'm going to my computer. I gotta write. He just be like, "Really?"
Yes.
If you don't lay your butt that down, girl.
Well, I'm gonna break out the phone or my iPad. I'm gonna get this idea written out. It's gonna happen.
Because if you don't, it's gonna be gone. It's gone. It'll come and it go.
Yep.
So you definitely have to get it out there and keep much notes as possible, because you never know when you're going to really get that hit, that one bestseller, or that, whatever.
Yep. And I have a book like that right now that my publisher, she wants it. I love my publisher so much. She really wants that book. Like, everybody wants this book. All I did was post the cover and my synopsis. Ever since October, I've been promoting this book since October because that's how long I've been writing it. Ever since then, everybody has been on me for the story. I'm like, it's coming. Like, just, you guys know how long it takes me to write.
It's gonna be a good story. It's gonna be a good story, though. Because I remember doing that with Naked Hustling. Like, I would promote it. I would post pictures of the characters. I would post little stands. I was promoting this book for 6 months.
Exactly. That's
I can relate to that.
Yeah, and my good friend, she's on me too. She's like, Shy, if you keep talking about this book and I really, really want to read it, we gonna fight. I'm like, listen here. You know me. Yeah. And I'm going to keep talking about it and getting ideas. Like, the ideas going to keep flowing for this book. No matter what. That's just how this story is going. That's just how there was not even, I think I wrote a little notes for this particular story. Other than that, my brain has been free-flowing the story the whole time. Just complete free flow.
I definitely know a lot of freestyling writer. A lot of people asking me, like, you don't do an outline? I'm just like, look. If I sat down and do an outline, it'll take me way longer to write the book. So I just try to freelance write. And that just keeps, as long as it's flowing, I type. When it stops flowing, I stop. I take a break. I go do some other stuff. Then when it starts flowing again, I'm back on it.
Exactly. It never ends. Now, I love the fact that, you really opened up in this interview. This interview was great. It was such a great and fresh talk because I haven't been on my podcast for a couple of weeks, and I just love talking to great authors like you. And this is the time where you get to go off the hinges and just shout out all your books, where you get them from. Shout out any people that you love, any readers, any publishers, yourself. That's your time to shine right here.
Okay. Well, I don't know if y'all ever got a chance to read my Christmas story. It's definitely good read. It's called Loving an Atlanta Dope Boy This Christmas. It's a novel, but it's a great read. I had a lot of people like, oh my God, I want a part 2, whatever. So definitely check that out. The main character, her name is Quilira. It's very dope. Of course, I love doing scribble books, so y'all will find me in that section a lot because I went through stuff in my life, and like I said, a lot of these stories, they're not about me, but they have a lot of truth to them. So definitely check these books out. Like I said, I love Atlanta Dope Boy This Christmas is one of my favorites. Like, I love the main character guy. His name is Sleepy. And reminds you, he is so fine. So y'all definitely gotta check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a knight in shining armor. Like, he's a good guy. Like, he's a good guy. I love to write about good guys. So definitely all my books, you barely gonna find guys that you're not gonna like every now and then. But most of them be good guys. So, and definitely check out Blessed with Curves, with Beautiful Curves, which is just dropped February the 2nd, and I already got like almost 30 reviews on it. So they tell you right there, that's a good book.
Mm-hmm.
It's very heartfelt, touching. It touch on molestation. It touch on suicide awareness. Even myself, I have been on that suicide awareness line before, so it's definitely good for somebody, who's going through something, want to read. They also tell people, about checking on their family members, because a lot of people don't check on family members. They think everybody is doing well, they okay. So definitely check out Blessed with Beautiful Curves, and don't forget Naked Hustle. Naked Hustling, like I said, I wrote on that book for 6 months. So it's very, very detailed. It's a great book. You got all 5-star reviews. I haven't had one person say nothing bad about it on the review. That was amazing, because you always get at least one person that don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely check out Naked Hustling. Cherry, she's a wonderful character. She goes through stuff in life. She's learning at the same time. Elijah, he's there. He rescued her. He motivated her to be better, do better. We all meet that one person in life that actually changed our whole perspective of living. And that's basically what Elijah do for Cherry. So definitely check that out. You make her want to be a better person.
Yep.
And then I also want to shout out JJ, the writer, on Facebook, Dream Writer Publications. I want to shout his publications out because he is such a good publisher. And I know a lot of people be like, oh, I don't want to sign to a company. I want to sign to a company. Because they do stuff with companies or whatever. I would definitely tell y'all to definitely check out Dream Writer Publications, because Jay is a great publisher, and he's caring, and he takes his time with his authors. He definitely will help you with your whatever you do. He will help you critique it and make it better. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I'm a good writer, don't get me wrong, but he definitely takes his time and make sure your story gets exactly what you need. Make sure you go over your edit more than 3 times. You have to go over 20 times. You want to make sure it's right. So definitely check out Dream Writer Group Publication. I think it's Dream Writer Group Publishing on Facebook. So check that out. And and she likes experienced writers, so if you're an experienced writer and you're looking for a published home, I would definitely say you check him out. New writers, I would tell y'all to just check me out because I'm more of a motivator. Also, I help guide people and mentor them the right way up on a Unique Lashay Publications, which is my new publishing company that is launching in July. We already have 5 people that signed to us, and they are all new writers, like fresh off the map, never wrote a book before. So definitely they bringing some heat, good books.
I love all of that. This lady right here, Uniquely Lashay, is great. She's nice. She's just all around the world a great person. I loved having you on the show. Let me know. You can always come in my inbox. Let me know when your next book is coming out because you already know I'm going to have you on the show again. No problem.
Thank you. I sure appreciate it. I appreciate you having me. And it was a great interview. I wasn't nervous.
I'm glad.
At first I was, but I'm better now.
Yes. I said I got to get her in the nice mood so it could be. It was great. Around the world, it was fresh. It was great. I love you. She definitely loves you. Just go check out her books. I will have every link when I reshare this podcast for anybody who missed it. If you missed it, sorry. But she will be on the show live again. We'll let you guys know. Love you. Bye.
Authors Tell All, a podcast by Shy Soul. She's bringing you author interviews, book discussions, and more. Stay tuned.